Have you ever said something and it was completely taken out of context? Have you ever posted something online and before you know it, people started quoting you, judging you, and twisting it into something you never meant in the first place? You've been there, I've been there. So let's be real. The main question is, why do people twist something to their own narratives? Why do they say something just so it can fit into the agenda that they have? Let's talk about it. Welcome to OTMkast podcast. All right, people. Welcome back to OTMkast podcast, where we dive into anything and everything that shapes our lives, from sports to lifestyle, from fashion to careers and beyond. This is your one-stop destination for insightful conversations and engaging discussions. So, today's episode, we'll be talking about something that has happened a lot and is still happening to date. And the core question is, why do people take your words out of context and then use it for their own gain? Let's talk about this. Words are very powerful, and when someone wants to twist that power in their favor, they might cherry pick what you said, strip it of the tone, timing, or intention, and then repurpose it. It can be to win an argument, to make you look bad, or for it to align themselves with a version of you that suits them, which is not the reality. This behavior almost always boils down to a few things. And these are some things that I think every one of us would understand. And I think one of it is manipulation. They are trying to control a narrative. People would manipulate you, twist the things you say, just so because they want to control the narrative of that conversation. And it could be something of such how do I put it? Insecurity. I think that's the best word for it. Insecurity happens to many of those reasons why people twist those words which they feel would give them an upper hand in the conversation or in the social situation. And sometimes it's a projection that people are trying to project themselves on you. They are not really hearing what you're saying. They are just responding to their own issues. And sometimes your words become a weapon or a shield in someone else's story just so they want to fulfill an agenda. And in the real world scenario, for example, if you work at a place where you go in person and you don't work remote, and then there's this project that is going on, and you simply just said, let us look into another strategy. That statement alone, someone could twist it by talking to another person, your manager in this case, for example, and they would go and tell them that, oh, this so and so person says this current plan that we have is trash and doesn't support the team. The reason could be that they're trying to push their own strategy forward, or they want the team to follow that same plan, and they needed a scapegoat to be able to push their own agenda. I mean, in a relationship, almost all the time, this happens where you say something and it gets twisted, or they feel they understand what it is you were saying, but no, they did not. For example, it is a common phrase then that is say, I think I need space for some time. When your significant partner at the time start telling the story to someone else, they could simply translate it to they don't want to be with you anymore. And that is why they're saying that. And this can come from the fear of abandonment or them trying to preempt or break up. I mean, the one of the greatest thing and one of the strongest thing right now is social media. And the influence of which social media is having on each and every one of us right now is a significant thing. For example, you share a quote or a personal story, and suddenly people twist it to match the political or cultural argument you weren't even a part of. I've seen so many scenarios whereby it could be a politician, it could be a pastor, it could be a motivational speaker, and a clip of what this person was saying was posted online just so it could fit in the narrative of which the person is trying to portray. The full message could be about 40 minutes long, but that 10 to 20 seconds where someone said something that fit into their narrative, they clip it out and post it. In this digital age, people often take snapshots of our lives basically and build a whole narratives on fragments, which is why I almost do not believe what I see online. Because a good editor can make the worst soccer player into the best player. And one thing that I've come to understand, or that I'm still trying to understand, is the psychology behind it all, behind the reason why people twist some things or misunderstand some things just so they want to fulfill their own narrative or their own agenda. And according to experts, context is everything. When people don't care to understand you, or the worst case scenario, they want to misunderstand you, they become selective listeners. What do I mean by that? You could say 10, 20 words, but the two or three part that fit into the narrative of what they're trying to portray, they will take it out, and that's the only thing they hear. I used to tell something to most people that are around me, that I don't like arguments, I prefer discussions. It is okay for you to have different perspectives. So when you want to listen to people, don't listen to respond, listen to understand. And sometimes people like the sound of their own voice. They don't want to listen to your own opinion or perspective. They just want to keep saying and influence every single thing. And this could lead to a conversation bias, which it plays a big role. People only hear what confirms what they already believe, which in that case, they want to push a power dynamics because they feel sometimes threatened by your voice. They might want to reshape it to neutralize the power that you have, maybe the influence that you have. They would want to neutralize that influence. And at some point, it could be to gain social advantage, because people can twist your words to gain something like sympathy or status or support from the society. And all those things comes with its own problems and solutions. But there is one thing that you could do that I want us to really discuss, and which is how to protect yourself in this case. So, if there are ideas that you've used in cases like this where someone takes your word out of context and you've tried this approach and it worked for you, please leave it in the comment section or send it to my DM. Let's have a talk about it. But some things that I've come to realize, or that I try to do sometimes to protect myself, is I try to make sure I clarify what it is that I say immediately. After a conversation or after a statement, I say something like, what I meant was. So that way, I'm giving several examples of what it is that narrates into what I said. So it's not taken out of context, or it's not being misunderstood and it's being used for a different agenda. You want to document the conversations. The faintest pen is sharper and brighter than the sharpest brain or the smartest human being. Because no matter how a fainted pen is, if you can still see it, it can last for years. But the brain can forget in the quick minute. So sometimes maybe text is best for you to send to people, just in case it's about to get twisted. You can easily have a timestamp of what it is that you said, how you said it, and when you said it. Also, accountability. You want to ask for accountability. Ask people, can you please tell me what you hear me say? And I think this is one of the best approach where you can easily get people to know if they understand what it is you said or not. That way, when they're repeating what it is you said to you, or at least saying in their own understanding, you easily can correct it. Above all, to protect yourself, you want to try something by speaking intentionally. Know the audience. Not everyone deserves your unfiltered self. Not everyone deserves to know every single detail. Simply because sometimes you're saying to the wrong audience. They are listening, but they're not hearing you. There's a difference between listening and hearing. I can sit in a crowd and be listening to so many things that people are saying, but I'm not paying attention. So it's not sinking in. I'm only hearing someone speak. It's like a dog barking. Nobody speaks the dog language. It's like a dog barking. Yes, you hear the dog. You're listening and you're hearing the dog barking, but you can't comprehend it. That's the same thing with human. We are simply just hearing someone talking, but we are not trying to understand what it is that they're saying. And in that case, the best bet that you can is just to walk away. Walk away from that conversation. Walk away from that scenario, from that situation. Because people already have a designated belief about either you or that conversation, that it doesn't matter what it is you say, what it is you explain, they already have that narrative set and it will never change. So let's flip the mirror a little and then look ourselves in the mirror and ask yourself, have you ever been into a situation? Have you ever been in a situation where you take what someone says out of context? It is a human thing, or it's a human nature for us to interpret things through our own lens. But if we are not listening with the intent to understand, we might as well be guilty of the very thing that we ate. So first things first, listen to understand, don't listen to respond. It is okay for you to have different perspectives. But at the end of the day, you want to understand what each person's perspective is. That way the conversation can be smooth and understanding, and it is either not taken out of context or it's being twisted into something else. Let's be a better listener. Let's ask questions and not assume. Let's hold space for nuance. If you've enjoyed this episode, leave a comment, like it, and above all, thank you each and every one of you that has been with me thus far. The new listeners, the old listeners, the subscribers, I really appreciate each and every one of you. This conversation is broad, and I'm sure I'll bring someone on for us to expand on it and get a different perspective as well. But in the meantime, thank you very much for listening. Whatever it is you are, either day or night, This is OTMkast podcast. And always remember, no one writes your story, you do. Thank you and bye.